New World is a sandbox MMO from developer Amazon Game Studio. Set in the high fantasy world that in many ways is a reflection of our own during the 1600s, minus the magic of course, New World sets players on a course to colonize an unknown land teeming with magic, mystery, and mayhem. In true sandbox fashion, players must make their mark on the world, developing their character along the way, and band together with others to defend their homeland from other player factions and monsters alike. Originally slated for a 2020 release, New World had been pushed back till 2021. Amazon recently held a short preview of the game for alpha testers and pre-order players alike. I've had the opportunity to spend that time gallivanting around Amazon's beautifully crafted, fictional sandbox and wanted to share some of my initial thoughts on their first attempt at an MMORPG. So grab that coffee, kick back, and enjoy this quick preview of Amazon Game Studios' New World. If I'm being completely honest, up until recently, I've not had much love for sandbox MMOs. My ADD coupled with the choose-your-own-adventure style of the genre generally ends up with me spending 30 plus hours wandering in the wilderness, collecting sticks, then being no further along than when I started, with the exception of perhaps power leveling forestry. However, New World has caught my attention in a way that previous titles just couldn't. After some serious introspection, I think I've boiled it down to a manageable list of reasons why. First and foremost, I've been seriously impressed with the combat system. I found it to be both responsive and engaging enough to keep me coming back for more. New World's weapon types offer enough diversity to keep me engaged. Leveling each weapon unlocks a host of new abilities, but the limited action slots force me to be very intentional in how I play the character. This coupled with hot swapping up to 3 weapons allows for some seriously great custom builds for combat. Second, I find the progression system to be exceptionally well balanced. By nature, sandbox MMOs feature a lot of grinding. However, in the case of New World, progressing my various skills, be it weapon, crafting, or gathering, feels perfectly paced. Never once during my playthrough did I feel the grind of leveling skills. Most importantly, every outing in the open world impactfully pushed my character's progression forward. This, in part, can be attributed to the sheer amount of things to unlock. Each weapon type has 2 skill trees to level, while each crafting and gathering profession, all of which are accessible at the same time, offers a host of new items and recipes to unlock. Interestingly though, I never felt overwhelmed by the various options for progression. Things feel streamlined enough that I never lost interest in moving forward. Speaking of progression, the third mechanic that has really kept me engaged has to be the New World regional and city faction systems. Honestly, it's probably one of the first times I've really ever focused on one. In all fairness, I've not fully experienced all these systems have to offer, but what I have experienced, I've enjoyed. Each outpost or city within your faction can be grown and developed by players. Doing city quests will add to that city's overall progression, unlocking a host of perks for players in that city and region. Your standing with each region is earned, meaning that you quickly begin to gravitate to 1 or 2 areas, as focusing on a particular city generally means better perks for while you are there. I've not spent a lot of time with the PvP side of the game, and have to say that as a primarily PvE player, it's nice to be able to flag myself off for PvP, at least in the areas I've explored so far. The game has an entire player faction system that contributes to regional wars where players can fight for territory. I've actually enjoyed the system because even as a PvE player, I'm able to contribute to my faction's progression by completing faction quests. In regards to questing in New World, it's one of the areas that still needs some work. At this point, most of what I've experienced has been a mixed bag of fetch and kill quests with very little variety thrown in. Thankfully, my love for other mechanics has made up for this lack of variety, but I am a little concerned that it could get stale fairly fast. That being said, in my 15 plus hours of gameplay, I feel like I'm just beginning to scratch the surface of all that New World has to offer. I'm genuinely excited to see what Amazon's final product is. I see a lot of promise in New World. Combat, progression, and pacing feels solid and well thought out. The world itself feels diverse and engaging to explore. There are still a few unknowns, like the game's cache shop, endgame content for PvE players, and how required PvP actually is at the higher levels, all of which make me a little weary. But despite these concerns, I'm cautiously optimistic that New World is a title that could just sell me on this whole sandbox MMO thing. Be sure to check out the latest news on all things MMO right here at MMORPG.com.